You there. Do you like geography? But do you hate geography map work? Are you confused by the skills that you need to know? Are you unsure how to prepare for map skills for your map work section of the geography CSEC exams? Then look no further. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, School of Geography, for some live YouTube CSEC Geography Map Work Skills session starting from today at 5 p.m. Don't miss out on it. My name is Miss Fouchong and I have 13 years of experience. I love geography and I'm passionate about geography. Educating is my superpower. So see you there. Don't be late. Come join the fun and meet others who have the same problem as you. Let us do.
So we could done now, we could go home. But welcome to the TTT News Special. I'm DK Roster. Thank you so much for joining us. And we got a little sneak peek into the character of the person that we are speaking with. Founder and Managing Director of Coexistence Expeditions, geography teacher, as she said, for 13 years. Leah Fouchong has opened a virtual school of geography, and it's a dream of hers for some years now. So we say congrats on achieving that goal, and welcome to the program. How are you, Miss Fouchong?
Thank you, DK. I am quite fine, a bit tired, but I am good, in good spirits.
Very glad to hear. But let's start in it. What's the experience or the learning process that you and your students have had to go through during this pandemic?
The learning experience has been, quite a learning experience indeed. There's no other word to really explain. At some point, virtual learning became a bit challenging in regards to keeping the students engaged or keeping their attention, really pinpointing if they are with you, if they are engaged in the topics and are they truly learning. For me, I always say to myself, education is about, just not reading the text, but the students really learning in this process. So it has been quite a learning experience, and because of this, for myself, I had to explore new avenues in which to engage my students. The transition online for my students, it was sort of a smooth transition because I already had a website which they use to get their notes or PowerPoint videos. And I always utilize Google Classroom before moving fully virtual during the pandemic. However, with the new method of teaching being fully online and it's not blended learning where I have the website and I have in school session, it's now fully online. I had to be a little more creative in keeping them engaged. So, finding out um, what topics interest them. Are they learning? What can I do better? Introduce games into the classroom. So it has really been a learning curve, and I appreciate it because I love to explore new ways of, reaching my students and, bettering myself in the education process.
So yes, moving from that blended to the fully virtual, I want to ask you, Miss Geo Whisperer, what are some of the challenges that you would have really seen? Because just from looking at it from the outside, I can imagine being a teacher, you can see in the classroom, okay, this person isn't totally getting it. This person isn't paying attention. I have the joke that teachers love to call the child who's not paying attention to answer the question. What are some of those challenges that you've been seeing and dealing with thus far?
A few of the challenges, we have been dealing with online is that, there's a little running joke amongst my staff is that, we're saying that we have to play, Adele and Cass and all these people royalties because sometimes you go into a class and you go, hello, hello, are you there? Hello, hello. And the students are really not sometimes responding, especially coming down to the last um, part of the term where they were, I think, burnt out, tired. And I teach exam classes, I teach Form 5s, lower six, upper six. So for me, in that regard, I saw that some of them were really becoming a bit exhausted. Parents were also, reaching out to me, letting me know that their children are really just tired, and sometimes, they would allow them to miss a class if they truly, was burnt out or not feeling well. So, we have different challenges online in that now you have to find a way to engage your students. So, I think the biggest thing with virtual learning, full online virtual learning, is engaging the students in terms of keeping their attention, making the sessions more entertaining, and getting them to interact with their peers as well, and not just hearing the teacher's voice. So one of the things that I did, I created what we call breakout rooms for them to discuss topics. I still try to utilize presentations and for them to do their presentation even at home and in group work, so that they can have a chance to interact with each other, and also utilizing a lot of games and also getting feedback from my students, asking them, was this class okay? What do you think, I need to do better? How can teach this subject differently that could get you more engaged in the area, the subject area, the topic area. So um, basically, I think engagement is really the number one issue with the online learning process, and also, of course, connectivity problems. Sometimes we saw during this pandemic that a lot of time we had dropped internet, and even on my end and the students' end. So that is some of the challenges that we face in this new environment.
But in terms of listening to what it is you're saying, I'm getting some keywords that you're using more than once, and one of them is engagement. But I really appreciate the fact that it seems as though you're empowering your students as well. Because sometimes we see it in tertiary classes, at the end of a semester, you would have the students' feedback to say, okay, well, this is what the teacher or the lecturer can do for the next cohort that is coming through. But in terms of you asking, okay, what is coming through? What are you understanding? How can I help you? So help me to help you in a sense. And one of the things that you're doing is that YouTube channel. So give me a little idea about it, because if it is something that you wanted to do for a while and you finally did it, what was that straw or the final thing that pushed you over the edge and said, Leah, it's time to do it. So what took you there?
What really took me there, starting the School of Geography online, I actually wanted to have a physical school, for some time. But because of time constraints and all of the activities that I'm engaged in, it was not possible for some time. But being in the online environment, and I wouldn't say that, I'm very tech savvy, but I can get my way around with technology. I am quite confident. And I tend to keep up with the trends and with social media with my students. And, you know, coming down to exam, I really saw the exhaustion and the engagement process was, dwindling in classes. And I got the idea of maybe I should start doing these classes by a YouTube channel, because, a lot of them love gaming and a lot of them love to watch YouTube videos. They like to make TikTok videos. So I decided that I would take the leap and start online with the School of Geography. So this is where I got the idea from. So the concept of School of Geography is to engage the students where you have not just Trinidadian students, but now I can have a larger audience from across the Caribbean, and especially with teaching map work, the map work segment of geography, it requires knowledge of all the Caribbean islands, because you do not know where this map would be taken from for the exam. You can get a Barbados map, you can get a Jamaica map, you could get a Belize map. And some of these students never been to these countries before. So you're teaching a really abstract topic about a country that you never visited. You're asking them to locate settlements and vegetation and rivers and describing these patterns that they have never seen in their life. Some of them don't even know much about Trinidad. So getting an audience where you have students from different schools in Trinidad and Tobago, you get a type of response, you get different responses. And also across the Caribbean, students from Guyana, Jamaica, they give their responses with respect to their home country. So now the students could have an idea of, okay, this is, really, this is real. The person is talking about Kingston.
So you're
And
actually
now he
building
describes
capacity in
this.
that way by people sharing their different experiences. But that is something that I want to get back to when we return from this break. One, map work, and two, regional buy-in and participation and engagement. We are speaking with geography teacher Leah Fouchong. Stay with us. We'll return with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Leah Fouchong. And Leah, just before we took the break, you were speaking about engaging not just people from your school, those exam students, not just students from Trinidad and Tobago, but people from the region. So how did that come about? And then I also want you to give me a little idea of where MapWorks stands with regard to CXC in your estimation.
Okay, so the regional component of, the School of Geography is that YouTube allows individuals from all over the world to view your channel. So I am in a number of WhatsApp chats with markers from across the Caribbean, teachers from across the Caribbean, and I sent them, my little flyer that I was doing these regional, this YouTube this YouTube, the YouTube classes. So they decided that they would share with their students, and the support of the teachers have been really great. Where also I invited other teachers to come on to the YouTube channel so they can also help with replying to the students and giving responses and clarifying when I am also doing explanation and answering so that, sometimes there might be an overwhelming response and I may not see everything. So it was nice to have teachers on there with me and getting other teachers to support me from the region to send it to their students. So that is where the students were able to come on and, make this session really more lively and making the students really get an idea of other Caribbean islands. And with regards to map work, CXC is going full ahead with the map work session, regardless, in Trinidad and Tobago, some of the islands like, St. Vincent, who probably was not open for the entire lockdown period from since March 2021, which meant that some of these students have never seen a map, and the map itself is very large in person and it can be very intimidating for a student. So getting access to digital copies of the map was one of the things that um, I had, and I wanted to share it in a forum where all students, or students who wanted that opportunity to learn more about map work and to perfect it, to come on, because I know, during this time it was very hard for teachers to even finish the syllabus, far less to get or to delve very deep into the map work component. So, getting an opportunity to share it on the World Wide Web where students can actually interact with each other, I thought it would have made the MacBook process a bit easier for them, a bit more exciting because they can hear different students responding and also get a chance to work with maps which they probably may not have had experience before.
Now, it is one thing to have students say, okay, I wonder who could help me. And they're looking for as many components to put into their toolkit as possible. It's another thing, in my estimation, to have teachers buy on and be part of the process. That speaks to another type of validation. But what is some of the feedback that you're getting from students, from some of the other teachers, from even possibly parents of the students that are tuning into the School of Geography on YouTube?
The outpouring of support has been so great. I really didn't expect, this amount of support. I have parents calling me and thanking me for taking the time to really, go through these sessions with their student, with their children. I have, my colleagues saying, Leah, thanks for taking the initiative and, you know, getting it, getting it done. Some of them are telling me they're learning, tying up all of the points that they did mention, but really tying it in together and concreting the information for their students, and they also are learning, some tips. So it has really been great, and the students are, oh my gosh, I teach in an all girls school, so I love when I teach boys because I have boys for lessons. They are so comical, boys are so different, and sometimes they can dominate in the online environment, so I have students that recommend, Miss, you can use a different streaming service. So one student, he told me, Miss, you can use Streamlabs, which I didn't know about before. And he said, Miss, I will show you, I will give you a tutorial because he's a heavy gamer. So he's well into YouTube channel, and he said he will give me tips, and I appreciate all of these students. These students are really thankful. A lot of them are telling me, they're thankful, and if I would be doing it next year because I have some Form 4 students in the group as well. So it's really nice, the support, and it's been a really nice experience, rewarding.
And feeling fulfillment in what you do is really a blessing. But let me continue with the plug though, because one, it's a School of Geography on YouTube, but also, as far as I understand, is absolutely free. Or to put it another way, all you pay is attention. Am I correct with that?
Yes, yes, yes. You pay attention and you subscribe to the channel
All
so
right
that we
then.
go the next week.
Now, in terms of you saying that you have a little more time on your hand, that also ties into my question of saying, so the energy, the passion that I'm hearing from you, it makes me feel as though geography can be fun. Now, but to date myself a little bit, I guess, and to quote Kermit the Frog, you're kind of a Caribbean amphibian. So, in terms of bringing those experiences into the classroom, tie that in for me or lay that out for me how you do it, in addition to speaking a little bit about your work with Coexistence Expeditions, please.
Sure, no problem. So, I am a, I like to consider myself, a global, regional person. I'm that person that loves traveling. When I was in school, geography was not very, exciting, but I actually loved the nature of the discipline. And when I started teaching, I always said to myself, I want to bring this subject alive because geography is all around us. It impacts our everyday life. So for me, wanted to travel the entire Caribbean, and I traveled 15 countries so far, where I take photographs, where I do videos of my experience, and I am able to bring that into my classroom, where I get students to actually witness these actual features that we are discussing in the textbook or from a PowerPoint. They get to see me by a volcano, by the tallest waterfall in the Caribbean, a tide show in Guyana. And it really makes the learning experience fun because they are also interested in your personal lives. So you become a storyteller. So students really love when you bring that the concept of prior knowledge, before what you know, and you bring it to them and you tie that into what they already know. So some of them have traveled, and some of them can tell you, yes, Miss, I've been to this Caribbean island. I've been to, I've seen this waterfall in Trinidad. I've been to this place in Trinidad. So they can now tie in their experiences. And with my knowledge of the Caribbean islands and being able to study in Jamaica and in Belize, I am able to bring those that knowledge of the islands back into the classroom, which makes geography, fun. And people like to think geography is this difficult subject, but truly, geography is all around us, and it's really how we view the subject and can change this concept. So I tell my students, debunk the myth that geography is hard, and let people know that it's a really fun subject. And I take my students out on field trips. We go on a lot of field trips. We engage in a lot of activities. I bring in guest speakers in the classroom, my friends, people that I work with, so they have an idea that geography is a field that you can has a lot of opportunities. So it's not just you can be a teacher, but there are so many opportunities. Also, I have founded Coexistence Expedition, which is ecotourism and geotourism tour company where I offer fun, educational, guided, safe tours, geared towards the environment and road trips, adventure activities,
But
and my
and the nice thing
students
is that we'll be able to
sometimes
talk
my
about coexistence expedition at another time, because I realize when you just open the gate a little bit, you just run through that door to talk about it, Miss Fouchong. But thank you so much for bringing this life, bringing this energy, bringing this information, bringing this passion to the students that you're dealing with in your class, as well as those who are a little further afield. And on behalf of the entire newsroom, we want to thank you for tuning into the TTT News Special. I'm DK Ronstar.